it was just something that was just in me, just feel like this is something I should be doing. Like the spirits was telling me this is something I should be doing.
Hi, Austin.
Thank you. One time, where you going, Fix? Hey! Thank you, I appreciate that.
Go it.
Hey, my name is Brianna Chanel. I am the mom of two amazing boys, Austin Liam, age 5, and Aiden Lee, age 3. I am a full-time entrepreneur. I have my own handmade bath and body store, and I am also a full-time homeschooling mama. So that brings me to the name of my channel, Business Life and Homeschool. So on this channel, you get to watch my journey, being a business owner, being a mom in general, being a full-time homeschooling mama, because that's a whole different level. And on top of that, I still hold down a part-time job. So if you're interested in watching me in my new season in life, as many of you are probably embarking on as well with the whole COVID and homeschooling and figuring out what to do with your kids, and if you can do it all, I'm here to tell you that you can, but only if you want to. So stay tuned so that way you can figure out why we decided to homeschool. Okay, so the decision to homeschool was not made lightly. It was something that I was actually already thinking about doing even before COVID hit. At the new year, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, when this school year is over, you know, I think I want to just keep the kids with me. It just seemed like it'll be way more convenient. I feel like they'll be able to learn a little bit more with me. Because it's a challenge of being in a classroom if you do feel like your kids are either advanced or a little ahead in everybody in class, then my stomach just growled. Then, you know, it can't be a challenge just trying to keep them interested and focused in school. So honestly, even before their dad was on board, I was kind of already back in my head, oh, I know I'm gonna homeschool these kids. It don't even matter what he gonna say. I know what's best for my kids. They can't matter me. But no, seriously, we did make the decision together. He was a little, I don't know about that at first. And I would say his two main reservations about homeschooling was, one, he didn't want me to be overwhelmed as much as I was already overwhelmed trying to get this business up off the ground, still working part-time nights and not getting home till after 1 o'clock in the morning. On top of that, still having to be a mom and parent my kids and take care of my household. So that was understandable. However, I felt like because I felt so strongly about this, like this was like a new passion of mine. Like I knew this was something that I should be doing. I knew this was something that I made for or was destined to do and would benefit our kids so much. You know, I didn't care about being overwhelmed. At the end of the day, I'm going to be overwhelmed whether I got one job, 2 jobs, or no jobs. Just being a mom in itself can be overwhelming. So it's like, well, I'm going to be feeling the same way regardless. Might as well have as much positive outcome in the meantime. So with that being said, he did agree that it will be good for the kids, and his other reservation was sports and activities and things like that. And it was like, okay, our kids did sports and activities outside of school. They were in preschool. They've done basketball, football, baseball. We go to museums and play places. We do so much. Like, they're not doing anything in school. They take maybe one field trip throughout the whole school year, and it's usually to the pumpkin patch. And then during the summertime, their summer camp, because their preschool ran year round, they did do field trips every week. But just, school is not the only place your kid does activities. Honestly, there's way more travel teams when it comes to sports and activities that get way more recognition than actual school sports, you know. So I just kind of let them know, like, hey, when you really think about it, it's not really much to be worried about. Our kids are very active anyway. They're not going to be missing out on anything. Socializing. We've all been there. We've all been told, you are in school to learn, not to talk, not to socialize. So why does everyone have in their head, oh, your kids are not going to be social and know how to socialize because they're going to be homeschooled? We need to get this cult-like homeschool, like, I don't know why it's implanted in so many people's heads that homeschool kids are just mute or just so awkward and weird and don't know how to act around people. And to be honest, if you have other friends and play dates and you're active with your kids and you do things outside the home, or if they have multiple siblings and multiple people around them, I only see that being a problem if you're the only child. And I see that with people that's homeschool or don't homeschool. It doesn't matter. All kids are different. No two kids are alike. Some kids are naturally reserved and quiet. We all remember being in school and there was always either the quiet kids in class, the weird kids, or awkward, or just seemed like they just didn't fit in, or was afraid to speak up and talk or initiate conversations. Where did they come from? They're not homeschooled, so why are they like that? Because all kids are different. So we just gotta get that out of our heads. And I feel like my kids and my life and the things we do, how we raise them, and our just family life in general will prove that homeschool kids aren't quiet and reserved all the time. Like, mines are never. For those that know us, know that you can hear my kids coming down the street. But guess what? I love it. It warms my heart. It's loud, it's crazy, and hectic as it can be. I enjoy seeing kids be kids. I love that my kids are kids, that they like to have fun, they like to do childish things because they are children. I allow them to do that. So I wouldn't feel comfortable with them being in a so straightforward structure, discipline. You can raise great children without being so straight lined, so by the book, and you get to see that here. So without further ado, let's get into the reasons, the 3 main reasons why we decided to homeschool. So one is family. When you think about it, your kids are in school for hours, usually for majority of their day that they are awake. So I know my normal routine as a kid sometimes would be school. I did before care and after care. So basically think school from 6 to 6. By the time my mom picked me up, guess what? Home, dinner, homework, up, bath time, time to go to sleep. You know, I feel like you miss out on that interaction, purposeful interaction with your parents or family members, because you're around each other, you're doing things around each other, but how much are you actually doing together? How deep are your conversations together? It's usually not. Or even if it's relaxed time after school at home, in between dinner time and bathing and going to sleep, people are usually, one person's on the TV, one person's on the tablet, one person's on the phone, one person can't be reading a book, one person may be outside playing. But either way, it is, everyone's doing their own thing. They're just around each other. So it's not, to me, it's not that meaningful. So I want to be able to have that time with my kids that I feel like will make a difference in their life and will make a difference in our relationship and building close relationships with my kids, and continue to foster that as they get older. I know we all have those times where we're like, oh, I want you to stay my baby forever. But you know what? You don't have to stay my baby forever. But knowing that we will always have that open communication, that affection and love for one another, making my kids feel very comfortable to literally tell me anything, whether they're afraid or not. Like, that's a beautiful thing to me. That is such a beautiful thing, without judgment. It's so beautiful to witness that in different families, and that's something I aspire to have with my kids. My kids are very open-minded and outspoken as well. I know some of my family members probably look at me like, he said what? He got a voice? He got his own opinion? Yes, I raised my kids to be very vocal in their truth, in their honesty, in the way they feel and their own feelings and emotions. They have the right to hug who they want to and who they don't. They have the right to not want to be bothered when they don't want to be bothered, you know. I just always think about, how did I feel, you know, being forced to speak to certain people, forced to hug certain people, forced to just be a certain type of way, you know. I let them have their space. Space. Everyone deserves their own personal space, period. So, guys, this is going to be a lot of rambling on because I always forget my train of thought sometimes. Family time. We get more time because they're around us more, and using that time intentionally. So that was one reason. I don't want them. I was that mama that dropped them off and then picked them up to the last minute to the school about to close, you know, because as moms, we do need that break, you know. So I'm not going to sit here and act like it wasn't needed, or we're such horrible parents for doing that to our kids. Every once in a while, if you got to do it to run a few extra errands, to get that extra me time, then so be it. But I didn't want to get into a habit like the habit I was building of doing it like all the time. Now I'm going into our second and third reason that kind of intertwines with one another, is freedom and flexibility. So flexibility kind of goes hand in hand with the family part of being flexible with your schedule and your time. So not only do we get to do more things because we have that time, we're working around, we're not building our lives around school schedule. So if we want to go and skip town for a month to California like we've done before, we don't have to deal with informing the school, getting school packets or homework or this and that, or worrying about your kids falling behind, or feel like you get permission to live life, you know, or like it's a crime if you take your kids out of school for a certain amount of time. Fortunately, we didn't have to deal with too much of that because they were in preschool, and technically you don't have to put your kids in preschool in the first place. But had they been older, like first and third grade or fifth and seventh grade, we would have had that problem. So you have that extra flexibility and freedom to do what you want, when you want, and how you want to do it. So going into that how is the way you want to teach your kids, how you want to homeschool your kids. So for us, we've adapted a very Charlotte Mason and a little unschooling way of teaching the kids. Unit studies is a way we incorporate that. So right now we're in an oceans unit study, and guess what? We're taking trips to the aquarium. We're learning about all the ocean animals. You know, we are doing projects based off of that. We are just pretty much living in whatever we're learning at the time, and it makes learning way more fun. The kids are loving it. I'm loving it. I'm a very thematic person in the first place, so when you are teaching through unit studies, which is basically picking a topic, theme, book, whatever, and learning based off of that. That's like your spine. You're gonna branch out from that. You're gonna teach based off of what is in whatever resource book, whatever crafts you got. You're just building off of that one topic. And it can branch off into different things. You can go down rabbit holes. We can be talking about trees, and sometimes now we're on apples because apples grow from trees. So now let's go to the orchard and pick some apples, or let's read a book about apples. So you can really like just explore the world, pretty much, literally. So far it's working good, and I'll talk about that in my next video. But flexibility to teach how you want to teach. And for us, I've chosen to do a year-round homeschooling, and you can do it too, whether you want to do 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. It's up to you as a parent to decide what's best for you and your family, what works for your kids most importantly. Sometimes it's not always what works best for us, but what works best for our children. I feel like we are here as parents to serve our children, to do what we can to raise them to the best of their abilities. I want my children to grow into themselves and to discover themselves and to follow their passions and what they want to do and discover that on their own, you know, with my help of course, but without pressuring them to be a certain type of way. So where was I? Again, see, them rabbit holes, I go down them all the time. Woo, child. So we're gonna do year round. I'm gonna do 6 weeks on and 1 week off. So every 6 weeks we'll have a different unit study that we're going to do along with our regular yearly curriculum, such as like our language arts and math. Through the unit studies we'll be learning most of our science and history and social studies and economics, practical living, just everything in that nature that you wouldn't get out of your language arts and your math. Because those are things you have to kind of build upon in a certain order for the most part. We're finding things with science and history and things, you don't have to do everything in a certain order. It's kind of just what's interesting at the time. So my kids are really diving into this whole marine biology basically, which most 3 and 5 year olds wouldn't be doing right now. But hey, it's working, it's going good, and I can't wait to talk to y'all about it. But yes, I just feel so much more free. And by me having to have my store open 5 days a week, so I'm like I said, full-time entrepreneur. So whether I'm here or at home or wherever I am, I'm always working. So it doesn't matter if I'm here 40 hours, thinking extra 20 hours a week mentally somewhere else, I am always working on my business. On top of that, I do have my part-time job at Amazon. So I do nights 3 days a week. And one of those days is actually all day. Like Mondays are literally all day. I'm going from like 12:30 to 1 o'clock at night, from the time I leave out the house to the time I'm pulled up in my driveway. So Mondays are my long days. So business wise, unless it's shipping off something or whatever, I'm really not doing anything with my business on a Monday. But me doing all of that, being exhausted, tired, whatever, I still wake up excited because honestly, I feel like the homeschooling has given me something more to be excited about. Yes, having a business is exciting and being able to do different things, make soaps and make body butters and create and be creative, but knowing that I have to teach my kids and we're actually having fun while doing it, that is a feeling that is very fulfilling. It's very amazing to know that I, the mama, am enough. I am enough to teach my kids. And don't feel you need a degree or whatever. We all went to school, right? So why do we feel that we went through all these years of school and that we're not good enough, or we didn't remember enough or know enough to reteach those same things we learned in school to our children? And the reality of it is we are learning some things with our children, and that's okay. Or even if we already knew it, sometimes you need a refresher, and that's okay. My kids being young is preschool, first grade, obviously I know everything. But when we get to the high school level, if I have to refresh my memory on the damn Pythagorean theorem, if I had to, then so be it, you know. Read the chapter, you know, do some research ahead of time. Now we have online tutors, schooling, websites, apps. You can go on YouTube and ask a question and figure out how to do something. It will be fine. It's okay. And again, I'm always stressed, if you want it to be okay and if it's something you want to do, it will get done. Period. Stop doubting yourself. You are enough. You are good enough. You know enough. Because people are so afraid of thinking that they're not good enough to teach their kids, or feel like, oh, well, the schools know better. You know, the teachers have degrees and things like that, which is, yes, they went to school to master that. And I'm not doubting any teachers. I have teacher friends. I love them. They're great. But if you are thinking that homeschool won't be enough for your kids, but yet going into the school system that you're saying basically didn't teach you enough for you to feel like you remembered or learned something, yet you want to send your kids into the same system to do what? To continue the cycle, if you truly feel like the school system failed you, or you didn't learn enough or retain enough information. You know, I don't know. I don't get why people think that way. I'm even gonna say people in general. Like, a lot of us have thought that way at some point. But just really think about the questions you're asking. Why do you think you're not good enough? What's different from them learning at home as opposed to them learning in school? Because like I said before, school is for learning, not socializing, which is what teachers used to say. Being little, like preschool, first grade, second grade, some of these kids are only even seeing other kids at school. So I get why people would think that, oh, they're socializing there. But if the teacher's saying this is not, don't talk while I'm reading, or this isn't recess, like, how much time are they really getting to interact in the way that they want to interact? They are around each other by association. Not every kid speaks to every kid or anything. You're working around. You're in a room. Everyone's doing their work, doing their own thing, whatever. The higher up you get in grades, the less socializing there is. So if it takes us 2 hours in a whole day to get everything done that we need to get done, that they would have got done in school over a whole 6-hour period, or however long your child is in school, that leaves extra time for either me to put them in soccer or whatever type of activities, or for us to go out and do something, or for them to just either learn more stuff, I don't know, dive into their own interests. So if they're into engineering, plenty of building activities going, you know. So it's just, you just have way more time. And if they are friends with other homeschooling kids, guess what? Those would be the perfect friends for them, because while everyone else is in school, these kids are done with their work for the day. You know, they can, you know, socialize, real socializing with each other. So let's just get that sheltered idea. You don't want your kids exposed to other people and things. And I'm sure there are homeschooling parents that's out there like that, but it ain't me. Okay, my kids have always been social. They've always been young, wild, and free, literally. My little wildlings. If you like Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. So they're gonna forever be like that. That's them. That's their personality. That's the personality they were born with. So even if I tried to stop them, I feel like it'll be more detrimental to their mental as opposed to beneficial. Not trying to create little robots. Another reason why homeschooling is beneficial to us, and the reason why I was thinking about taking them out of school in the first place, was the cost of it. So they were going to a private school, and even if they weren't in a private school, just daycare in general costs money, okay? So for example, if it's $150 a week per kid, that is what, $1,200 in a month. That's like close to my whole yearly homeschooling budget. That includes their year-round curriculum. That includes any flashcards, games, learning manipulatives, field trips, their unit study stuff, books. That includes like everything we need for the entire year. Homeschooling does not have to be expensive. It can be as cheap or affordable as spending, I don't know, $200 in a whole year. Or it could be as expensive as spending $5,000 in a year. Honestly, when I sit back and think about it, if you're someone that was either had your children in daycare all these years or in a private school where it actually costs money anyway, those $10,000 plus that you spend in a year for your child's education, yeah, that's a lot of money. And you're spending a small fraction on that. If you did decide to spend $5,000 on just doing a whole classroom up and buying like pretty much everything you set your eyes on, you're still saving. But for us, $5,000 is definitely not practical for us. Paying for school was already a struggle. So yeah, baby, it ain't easy. So the fact that I'm able to still teach my kids everything I want them to teach them in the way I want them to be taught, and be able to buy everything I want for them and still save money and stick to our personal budget that I came up with. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good. It's a part of freedom. It is. It is. But yes, homeschooling does not have to be expensive. Honestly, all you need is a piece of paper, a pencil, a crayon, whatever, and a book. That's how you learn. Like, that's really all you need when it comes down to the most basic level of learning. Even little ones don't need a piece of paper and a pen. Like, you can pour some sugar in a pan and teach them how to do their letters and the alphabet. Like, learning and teaching can be as simple as you want it to be, or as intricate and extra as you want it to be. I am more of the extra parent because I'm loving these unit study ideas and everything, but even then, like I said, it is still affordable. Okay, got it? All right. Because things are slow around here at Shave My Way, so ain't no money to be spending on a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But what I am able to buy is definitely, I'm very intentional on what we buy, and it's meaningful and it serves a purpose, and the kids are loving it and I'm loving it. So it'll cost you whatever you want to spend. Period. Period, poo. Okay. This is me. This is how I raise my kids. This is how we're doing schooling. And you get to see everything. The successes, the failures, the good, the bad, the beauty, the ugly, the crazy, the happy. You get to see it all. I'm so honest, I'm so transparent, I'm so raw, I'm so sarcastic at times, a little dark humor in there. Okay, this is business, life, and homeschool. So please subscribe to my channel down there and hit the notification button, because I will be uploading videos every week. And I will also have my business information below, because in case I didn't mention it, it's called Shave My Way. Oh gosh, I should have put that in the beginning of the video, but hey, here it is. The website, the social media links, everything will be down below. So look into it, get in tune, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.